Hello everyone, welcome to our Python General Knowledge Quiz explanation. Today we'll take you through the Python program that runs a quiz, checks answer, and keeps score. The program consists of 5 questions with multiple choice options. After each question, the user gets immediate feedback about whether their answer is correct or not. So let's dive into the, the program, the code structure. At the core, At the core, we have a list called questions. Each element in the list is structured as a dictionary containing 3 key value pairs, which is the question, and it's has been assigned as a what is the capital city of Australia, and options, a list of multiple choice options for the question above it, and then the answer, which is the correct answer that has been assigned to that question. So this simply means that when you run the code, it will give you the question, what is the capital city of Australia, and give you multiple choice options, which are A. Sydney, B. Melbourne, C. Canberra, D. Brisbane. And in this, we've assigned the C as the correct answer to the question. So any option which will be entered and it is not C will be given a mark of 0. That means you are wrong. For example, so let's run the code for you to see what I'm trying to explain here. So in the code, when you run the code, this is what you are going to see. What is the capital city of Australia? Which is the first question. So in the first question, when you enter any other option apart from C, we are going to get it wrong. So let's type C, whether to see whether we'll get the correct answer. So we've entered C. Let's see. So when you enter the C, it gives you a remark correct and indicates your score. That means you scored 1 out of the 5 questions remaining. So when you keep on getting the answers for the questions, it will give you the same remark and then continue adding the scores you get. So here, who wrote the famous play Romeo and Juliet? Here the answer is A, but I want to choose another option for you to see. So let's choose like D, and then we'll run it. So with D, it says I'm incorrect, and it will give you the actual answer, which is A, and then it will not add 0 to to your score because you had it wrong. So the structure helps us to store all the questions and answers nearly. Now let's move on to how the quiz is being executed.
Need to explain the logic part of our quiz app, which consists of 4 loops, 2 for loops, which our first for loop represent the questions and our second for loop represent the options. So our first for loop says for q in questions. Q here is a variable which represents the question in the question list. So each and every question in the question list, Q is being used to represent it. So anytime this for loop perform an action or repeat, Q here is being represent the next move that it takes. So let's say if Q is 1, question 1, so when the code repeat again, Q here will no longer be question 1 but what, question 2 in the question list. So our print here will print Q question. So whatever Q is being represented in the question list, whatever question Q is being represented in the question list will be what printed. So they say Q question. So Q may represent question 1, it will print question 1. It may represent question 5, it will print question 5. So any number that Q is being represented will be printed. Any question Q is being represented will be printed. So our second for loop is where the options will be printed. So it also takes what? For loop. So our second for loop, it says for option in Q options. And in the beginning I said Q here represents what? The question in the question list. And that means the question in the question list have their options. Each and every question in the question list have their options. So this Q here represents the current what? Question. So if Q here is question 1, that means this Q here is question 1. So the options in question 1. So the options in question what? 1. This variable represent that. So if this Q here represent question 2, so the options in question 2 is what this variable represent. So when we print the option, which is our variable, that option will print the options in the queue, whether it's question 1, it's question 2, it will print that options for us. So it will print that option. And this is where the user will enter the options. So they say user answer is equals to input enter answer A, B, C, or what D. And this uppercase here is a method which will be used to change the lowercase in case someone enters a lowercase. This method will be used to what? Change it to what? Uppercase. That's the meaning, and that's why we brought this method.
We are moving on to the next part of the code, which includes the usage of the if-else statement for comparison. Alright, so it's starting from line 39. This statement checks whether the user's input correlates with the allocated answer for the question. So line 39 states that if user answer is equal to tail of answer, meaning if the input of the user is equal to the answer for the question, then the code should print correct, meaning the answer of the user correlates with the allocated answer for that question. Then this line increase the score by 1, meaning after the check for the answer for the user and it's correct, the score should increase by 1. Yes, so that is about if and then else statement. So meaning everything under the else will print if this code, that's the first part of this code, doesn't work. Yes.
I'll be taking the class through code lines 42 to 46. And what it basically does in this program setup is that it displays the user's current score and also keeps record of their current score. Before the program starts, the score is initialized to 0. That means that every time the user answers correctly, there's an increment in score by 1. And after each question, the current score is displayed to the user for them to know how they are doing or faring in real time. We move to code line 46, which is the parens bracket open F in inverted commas current score. And what this does is that it shows the current score in the format x over 5, where x functions as the number of correct answers the user has gotten. We move to the learn bracket open questions, and what this line also does is that it shows the number of questions in the list, which helps the user know how they are doing in real time.
So I am explaining line 48 and 49. As you can see, this is the end of the code. So this is where it prints. Line 48 prints feels complete, and line 49 shows the score and the length of the question. So let's say the score is 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, anything you get out of 5. And we have, as you can see, we have 5 questions here. So the score out of 5. So the score, how many correct you get in the questions out of the number of questions we have here. So it is 5. So anything out of 5.
So you can add a timer to challenge users to answer the questions within a specific amount of time. So here I'm going to run the video to see how the whole program works. So run Python file. So we have this, enter your answers. Enter your answer A, B, or C. So what is the capital city of Australia, which we know is Sydney? Who wrote the famous play Romeo and Juliet? We know that is William Shakespeare. The largest mammal in the world, and we know that is a blue whale. And then which planet is known as the red planet? We know that is Mars. And then the capital city of Japan is Tokyo. Uh, cute. Okay, so we scored 4 out of 5, which is not bad, but it could be better. It could be better. It could be better.